Hi, MC Solaris here, paranormal romance author of the Orion's Order series, and I'm super excited to be here, going live today. We're going to be chatting with, hey Julie, so we're going to chat with Julie and Deb, and we're going to talk all things Orion's Order. Okay. Okay, Julie, I just sent you a request. Hey!
Hey!
Okay, let me turn up the volume on my end and get everything situated. Okay, so I don't know. I think Deb is joining us today. Have you talked to her?
I haven't, not yet, no.
Okay, so let me hold on 1 second. Sorry. Okay, one of my cats was acting up. All right, so I don't know. Let me see if I can send a request to Deb. No worries. If not, okay. So I sent her a request. If she joins, cool. If not, no worries. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. You?
I'm good. I was a little rushing around because it's 12 o'clock here.
Oh,
So,
it's almost bedtime here.
yeah, I was going to say because it's 8 o'clock, right, for you? 8 or
Yeah,
9?
8, yeah.
Okay, cool. Ooh, I love your shelf back there with all the bookish things.
Yeah, and if you look, there you go.
I was gonna say I see a gold and green, and that I spy with my little eye.
Yeah, well, I just thought I'd better move it into view because it usually sits in front of us.
Well, thank you. And
A
are
bit of
those
free advertising.
all your oh wait, Deb is unable to join. Okay, no worries. If she joins us, I can always send her a request.
Sure.
Let's see. Okay, so I think we just get started. Yeah?
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
All right. So, what do we want to start with? Should we do like an icebreaker or do we just want to questions?
Well, let's start with an icebreaker.
Okay. Do you have one in mind or do you want me to come up with one on the fly?
You do one, and I'll try and think of one.
Okay. So let's see. Icebreaker. Do you have a drink with you right now?
No, that's one I forgot.
No, you don't even have a drink. What if you like need to take a sip or something of during the live?
Hold on.
Okay. All right. There you go. What is that? Sprite?
Yes, it is.
Sprite.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. And then I just have a normal glass of water.
Okay. Cheers.
Nothing fancy. Cheers. Okay. Actually, I'm thirsty.
Oh, Deb's trying to work out where our chat is.
Okay. Let me send her a request.
Okay.
She has two profiles, right? Am I sending the wrong profile?
I think she has two or three. I'm not quite sure.
3? I think I only know 2. Okay, wait. Let me send her
Okay.
on both of them. Maybe she's joining the other one. Okay. I sent her a request. So we shall see. Do you normally drink Sprite or is it just
No, I'm trying to be slightly healthier. The Sprite I can drink with no sugar. If I've got to drink Coke or Pepsi, I'm afraid it's got to be full fat.
Yeah, right.
No diet. Can't do Diet Coke. Can't do Diet Pepsi.
Yeah. I hear you. I actually don't drink a lot of soda.
I try not to, but now that I'm going back to work tomorrow, I needed a bit of a pickup because I've been running around the house tidying up and sorting things out before I go back to work tomorrow.
And is that like officially back to work? Like the things are opening back up for you?
Yeah.
It keeps saying, I don't know if you're getting a message from Deb, but on my end, it keeps saying that she's unable to join. So I'm not entirely sure.
You may have to have. I'm wondering if that's because usually we're on the other. So obviously I've got my little penguin, haven't I? And I usually talk to her on that one, but
Like,
she's not on my Instagram. I try to keep this one to just authors and reviewers and things like that.
okay. I will send her one more. Third time's the charm. I'll send it to both of her profiles. And if not, I think we just get started.
Yeah. And then you may have to catch up with her at some point, and then
Yep.
we'll have to try it some other way, some other time.
Some other way, some other time. Okay.
I'm not exactly technically minded.
Right. And I'm not entirely sure. I'm still new to all this too. Okay, so oh, that's my cat. Sorry if you can hear her. She's she's heavy. She's right
Crikey, here. That's a big kitty.
Say hi. She's like, no, say hi. Basil, and she's not having it. Oh, okay. Oof. All right. So, I think the first question that I'd like to start with is, let's see. Oh, I keep getting messages. Yep, she's unable to join. Okay, I don't know what any of that means, but all right. So let's just get started.
Yeah.
So, do you remember what made you choose to read Calypso's Heart?
I must admit, the fact that it's a different cover from the usual. I must admit, though, the UK covers are a lot more sedate than the American covers. Example. Obviously, one of my favourite authors. Usually, it's got a bare-chested man on. These are the ones that Deb sent me.
Yeah.
See, I can leave that one on the coffee table. I can't leave that one on the coffee table. So yeah. So it was. I must admit, it was the cover. It's a beautiful cover. It really is. And then obviously I read the back, and it was something different. Whoops, this is going to go well today. Seriously. I'm trying to prop it up. Oh dear, seriously. Right,
No.
there we go.
We're good.
Okay, good. I need to stay away from the lead. Well, yeah, I would say this is obviously my little domain, but I don't have enough room to sit here properly and sit and read. So I am slightly cramped.
No worries. I actually don't even have a proper space either. I'm just standing. Oh gosh, my gardener just started. Sorry, I don't know if you can hear them outside. It's a hot mess today. Okay, guys, it's Monday and it's just a little crazy. So yeah, I don't have a space. I'm just standing in this like corner of my house. So, it's like the nicest little nook we have. So
well, when you become rich and famous, you can have a dedicated room.
You know, that goals to not only I don't know about the famous famous thing. I'm always like a little I'm such an introvert where fame is kind of like but yeah, definitely. I'd love to call in a space where like a little writing, reading cave, you know?
Yeah.
With actual bookshelf.
Don't know. So yeah, it was the cover that drew me in, and then reading the background, and then obviously I think I was invited by, I want to say Book Siren, I think, or Book Sprout, one of the other ones. They invited me to read it, and that was it. Hooked, absolutely hooked. It's something different. Yes, it's a bit long, but you know what? I'm quite happy to sit and read for hours on end. You know?
I do. I hear you. I mean, obviously, I love maybe it's not obvious, but I love big books. I love them with like a lot of story and background. Getting a chance to like get into the readers' heads and kind of know what they're thinking and feeling, and I love all of that so much.
And it's also the background as well, isn't it? I want to be able to visualize walking through a field. I want to be able to feel, you know, the wind running through your hair and what have you. And with that, it gives you so much description. It does feel like it's a movie playing through in your head.
Thank you. I love all of that stuff. I'm super detail oriented. I mean, it's probably our Virgo-ness, right? We love all the details. To all the Virgos out there, you'll love that.
But then I quite like the fact that it's not mindless details as well, because you get some that just fill the page and you're not quite sure why it was there, you know. And obviously the descriptions of all the guys, you know, very nice. But then you also get the visuals with the ladies, and sometimes authors tend to forget that, you know, I want to hear about her as well. You know, I want to be able to visualize her as well, you know.
I do. Sometimes I read books and I'm like, wait, it's like I'm 3/4 of the way through and they're like, and he ran his fingers through her hair, and I was like trying to visualize that. I'm like, what color is her hair again? You know, like, or something like that, where he's like, she looked deeply into his eyes, or vice versa. He looked deeply into her eyes, and I'm like, what color are they again? Or like, what's going on?
Whereas you get some of them that describe the eyes, you know, and sometimes, as I said, it feels like you're then watching a movie that's going through your head, and you can see the camera zooming in on the couple's eyes, and you can see, you know, the pupils expanding, you know, you can see all the colors that you know go through the iris and what have you. And yeah, sometimes I'm in the mood for that, you know, and other times you just want to, you know, get through the story as quick as you can. But if the story is good enough, I don't care how long it is. I'm quite happy to sit there for days.
Yeah, you're right. For me, it's the same thing. It's like sometimes I'm in a mood to like really dive in and like into these like big books, like the like mine, or I don't know, J.R. Ward's, or I mean, I'm just naming off my favorite, Millie King, and I love Sarah J. Maas too, and they're just they're big, and they have like all these details and scenes and just a chance to like really get in there. And then there's some times where I'm like, I just want to read a novella, you know. Like,
even then, if they're really well written, 80-90 pages, and I'm happy, you know. It just you know, you have to be in the mood for whatever. But as I said, if it's really well written, It doesn't really matter how long it is. All right, sometimes if it's really well written, you want it to go on forever.
Right. You're like, no, I don't want it to stop.
I know. Yes, especially then when somebody likes to throw out the occasional, bad guy mention and what, where, what do you do? What do you do? Where'd he go? Throwing out these snippets.
Yeah. So speaking of covers, okay. Speaking of covers, this one literally just came in. I just revamped.
Apparently Deb's watching us. We need to give her a wave.
Hey Deb. Hello. I don't know if you're there. Say hi.
Tapping on the comments. Hello.
Right. I tried to invite her. Deb, let us know if you want us to join us. I've tried a few times. Let me know. More than happy. Hello, Julie. Hey. So if you want to join us, just let us know in the comments. We're more than happy to have you join in the chat, Deb. So the covers.
Yeah.
This is the not new. This is the original cover that it's always been. But this is a little bit new. Hey, look at the spine. And then the back. So this is paper
all the way around. I like that.
So the back, what I did was just took out here, I'll show you. Because here is and this is what the dust jacket is. And
Stop tormenting me, will you?
Yeah, I know. And the you were talking about, it's a little bit more racy in the class. So this is the ebook cover. I made this the ebook cover.
Okay.
And then this is the original. So you can kind of see the difference a little bit. With the spines are a little bit different. And then I added this wolf here. By the way, it got mailed to me like this. And I was like, no. It's all I don't know if you can see it. And then the back has this one has the blurb.
Yeah.
And then this one, I just wanted it to be plain with the art. It's not plain. It's just, it's more artistry, I guess.
But
anyways.
It's quite a nice wraparound then, isn't it? It's like a scene that continues all the way around.
Yeah, I know. I love that. And so I think I'll probably continue with this theme. I did the book 2 and I'll do the same theme with book 3 for being the cover the same and then just having a piece of art on the back. I like that. I don't know. Let's see. Oh, Deb is saying trying to connect. Do you want me to try and invite you again, Deb? Here, wait. You're okay. Well, I sent you a request. We'll see if it works. So yeah, and about the covers. So this cover, I mean, I think I mentioned this in another video, so you probably know this, but this is basically what I saw in my head. And so all the covers are like this. And I actually was told, I was told that these are not genre appropriate and I need to change these covers. I was advised to change these covers. And
but every cover has got a male on the front. You want something to stand out. You want something different.
Thank you. And so I kept it. So these will be the covers for the paperback and the hardback. And recently I decided to run a little experiment and we'll see how it goes. So the ebook will now look like this. So we'll see. And I mean, it's pretty easy to change back and it keeps, okay. So yeah, Deb, it keeps saying unable to join. I'm not sure what's going on there. Hey, Victoria. Nice of you to join us. I think Victoria is also in the UK. So I'm not sure if you guys are near each other or not, though. But you guys are at least both in the same destination-ish, kind of. Okay, so Deb, I don't know. I keep trying to invite you, but let me know. You can just evening in the UK. Yep. I think it's now 8:20 for you guys.
Yeah.
All right. So let's see. Oh yeah, the covers. So thank you for saying that, because I got a lot of advice from experts and people who know, and I shouldn't say experts like this, but they really were. They have like a lot more experience than I have in marketing and publishing and, you know, years and decades. They all, I kept hearing the same thing of these covers aren't like genre appropriate, and so they need to be changed. So thank you for saying that about the covers, because sorry, there's like a little hummingbird literally like right here outside our window. It's like thing in the world. So I'm sorry, I'm being distracted, but it literally was like 2 feet from me. So cute. Okay. So yeah, the covers. I think it's because Julie had me add Instagram for Jack, and I have to, maybe. Okay. I'm not sure, Deb. Are you able to? Sometimes you're able to send a request to join. Can you send the request to join? Is your camera turned on Instagram? I don't really know how it all works. I'll send you another one. Yeah, the little hummingbird buzzing around. It's adorable. Okay, I sent you another request. I've sent you like 50, so I don't know if it's gonna work. Anyways, okay, so the covers. So thank you for saying that. And these are the covers that I've seen, and that they'll always be the covers when I think of them in my head. Now let's see if I had any other questions about things. Looking on my little cheat sheet here. Do you have a favorite quote or scene from Calypso's Heart?
Some are X-rated, some aren't.
Yeah, so if you guys don't know, I write steamy romances.
Steamy? That's one word you could call it.
Okay, yeah, it gets a little spicy. A lot of spicy. A lot of steam.
So I must admit, one of the ones that caught my eye, my interest, was when obviously she likes her coffee, she likes her music, and she likes to talk to herself. You know, and besides the grey hair, it sounds like we were sisters. You know, and she just has that appeal. And obviously, you know, she was listening to her music and coffee, and obviously then she shunts what, you know, you assume is obviously going to be Blake in the, you know, the car and whatnot. And when she's describing him, you're thinking, no, oh no, sounds well dodgy, well dodgy, oh no, get back in the car, get back in the car. And I do that. If the book is that good, I'll shout at the telly if I don't like, you know, but I'll also do that with a book. Get in the, oh no, what are you doing? Put the book down, walk away. Oh no, you know, like the fact that I love the Order, the way that they all are with each other, and obviously Riker and Ryland taking the constant Mickey out of Nico. You know, it's just, it's that bit of I think humor that sort of like breaks it up, you know, because yeah, if you're gonna write dark romance, that's fine, you know, but it's finding that balance. So with enough humor in it, you know, it doesn't start becoming, you know, a whole sort of like den of macho men and what have you. They can take the mickey out of each other, they can take the mickey out of themselves, and I like that. I really like that, you know. And obviously the fact that they're one-upping on each other. I mean, the one-upmanship between the twins and Nico is absolutely hilarious. Pink moments, you know, and what have you. It's, you know, you're reading it and you're going, seriously, no. And I've literally had tears streaming down my face where I've laughed so much, you know.
Oh, yeah, they are the twins. Every time I see them show up in my head, I automatically start smiling because I know whatever can happen, by the end of it, I'm going to be laughing.
Okay, I'm going to put you on the spot. Ryland or Riker?
Like, for which one's my favorite?
Yup.
I Okay, I know you're not gonna like this answer, but I really don't have a favorite of all the males in Orion's order, and even Riordan. I don't have a favorite character, even between the twins, because Ryland. So like, I don't know if I've said this in the books yet, so I'll try and word it in a way where I'm not giving away too many spoilers, but the twins, so like how I see them is when they started out in their household, they were, well, I guess you'll kind of find out a little bit more in book 2, but obviously they're identical twins and they're jaguars, and so they're felines, and so they play a lot. They play a lot. They have a lot of like energy, and if you just look at a cat and you watch a cat for a while, you'll see them go like through this like energetic cycle. So anyways, the twins, they started out kind of like in a similar headspace to me, and then what happens to Riker you'll find out in book 2, and so they end up like kind of branching out and becoming like two different like very distinctive different personalities. But in book 2 you find out like underneath Riker's, what happened to him, you still find out he's still that playful, energetic feline despite his like bad boy exterior. So
Yeah.
part of me will always, I have a soft spot for the bad boy, which is like really a like a big softy underneath it all. I have like such a soft spot for that. But then I also love Ryland's humor. I love that every time, both of them, but really every time he shows up, I know I'm going to be cracking up. I know I'm going to be laughing. I know he's like this comedic relief that comes in. And same with his brother, but Ryland is really more like outwardly, and he has like a bit more of a youthful air to him. And I love that. I'm a little bit more, not that I don't joke around in my real life or anything, but I tend to have people around me that are a bit more humorous. They help bring smiles to my face. I've just noticed that, like my boyfriend, my partner, my sister, my friends, they're a little bit more, they have like a lot of comedy and humor to them, and so it helps remind me to like laugh more, and so I love it when they both show up. But so Ryland has this it's still more of like a youthful comedic energy to him, and he but there's more to him than that. There's a lot more to him than that. And so I'm not going to give any spoilers, but I will say there's a lot underneath it. And he actually uses, so like Riker went to the bad boy exterior, and so he kind of closed off that way. But then Ryland, he kind of uses humor as his outward
armor type thing.
Yeah, and so we'll see a little bit more. So in book 2, there's this moment between Riker and Ryland, right before Riker makes this decision that could ultimately, be a big life-changing decision. I'm trying not to give any spoilers. It's at this moment between them, and it's like, what's going to happen? I don't know if you remember it, but they just
because obviously being twins, they've spent practically most of their life together, and as you said, something that will come along will change it. no matter how close they are, it will change the dynamic. It can't help but change it. So he's also got to think that far ahead. If it all goes wrong, where does it leave me and my brother?
Exactly. So that's exactly what I'm getting at. They've been together, attached at the hip, literally since the womb, right? Their entire lives. And they're very close,
Yeah.
very, very. And so in book 2, Kina comes in, who is Riker's life mate, Riker's partner. And so Kina comes in and it shifts the dynamic, because now it's not just Riker and Ryland. Now it's Riker, Kina, and Ryland. And it also reflects back, and you'll see this in book 2, it reflects back on Ryland, where he's like, now I'm not like I'm alone, but like, okay, where's my life mate? Like brother and now
well, as you said, because they've always been together, he now has to strike out as sort of as an individual. He's always had his brother's back, or his brother has always had his back. They've always been, two parts of one person.
Yep. And so you see this dynamic starting to shift in book 2, and there's a couple moments. That they share. There's one where they're specifically, they go off together, and it's like this moment where Kina recognizes this, where he's like, oh, if I wasn't here, then they would be doing their their brotherly thing right now. They'd be going out and doing whatever, going for a run, like in their Jaguar form, like whatever. It's something that they've done their whole life. And then there's this scene where Kina's like, oh, like Riker is choosing to not do that right now, but like I don't want to stand in the way of that, especially because they both need that. They need like each other right now. And so it's interesting when that comes up, and there'll be more. So there'll be more of that in book 3 and 4. We'll see more of Ryland. Not a lot, but we'll see, at least in book 3, we'll see a lot more of that dynamic. I don't want to. It's hard without giving like too many spoilers. And so like spoiler to do you mind? I guess I should have asked you beforehand, but I guess there's no way to say this without saying it. So do you mind if we talk about how you're a beta reader?
Nope.
Okay, so so Julie is one of the beta readers, and she has read for book 3, and so she already read book 3. But Julie, just so you know, there's a lot more that has been added and changed and tweaked and modified since you read it. So I'll be curious to hear what your thoughts are afterwards. So, and I'm trying to remember if some of these Ryland scenes were in there when you read it or not. But anyways, so.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, there's a couple that stand out that, as you said, you don't want to give too much away, but there is a nightclub scene which was quite interesting, which could take you either way, which I think because obviously that was where things went slightly downhill for Star and Deacon.
I'm trying to remember. Oh, okay, wait, are you talking about in book 2?
No, book 3.
Book 3? Okay, sorry. I'm so far ahead in the timeline. I'm like trying to remember.
Well, you won't share. What do you expect?
What? Wait, describe part of the scene to me so I know what we're talking about.
So they've all gone to the nightclub, haven't they? And Keenan and Riker are there. Callie, because they've all gotten all dressed up to go out, and I think Deacon invited Star, and she said she wasn't coming, and he starts talking to somebody else. And
okay,
Star comes in and
Okay, so that's book 2. That is book 2.
that's book 2, is it?
Yeah, it is. It's book 2. It's the nightclub scene. So since book 2 is already out,
Okay.
well, actually, wait, I see some of so Cinna. Hi, Cinna. Oh wait, we have a couple of people. Hey, oh Diego. Hey Diego. Thanks for coming. And hey Suzanne. So let's see. So okay, hey guys. We're about to talk a little bit about book 2, I guess. So Cinna, I don't know if you've gotten to this scene yet, but we're not going to give any spoilers away, too big of spoilers. But so there's this scene in book 2, and it's like not the never-ending scene, but there's like a lot because we get to see it from different people's point of view, right? So we get to glimpse, right, Tina, and they have like their first moment in this club, and then we get to see Callie and Blake, and then we also get to see this dynamic between Aaliyah and Nico, and then we get to see Star and wait, is this all in one scene? Maybe I'm getting confused here, but then we get to see Star and Deacon, and they're like in their epic, like, are we or aren't we? We, you know, this whole back and forth like they've been doing for years, and so we see yeah, so yeah, anyway, so there's just like a lot going on in this scene. I don't remember why we started talking about this scene though, but I love the nightclub scene.
Yeah. I must admit, I did enjoy the pole dancing scene that Keena did. I was hoping that it would get a bit spicier, but that got spicy enough, thank you.
Okay, yeah, the pole dancing. Wait, I'm sorry. I'm getting all the club scenes mixed up. Part of what I just said was part of book 1.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. There is, and then part of what I said was part of book 2.
Mm-hmm. And there's also a nightclub scene in book 3 as well, isn't there?
There's a couple in book 3, I think. There's some with Star. I'm sorry. I like, there's also a couple, there's like a new there's a new nightclub. I'll just say it like that. There's a new nightclub, and there's 2 scenes, I think, a couple like big scenes in book 4 too. So I'm like, my brain is all mixed up. Anyway, the nightclub
I suppose as well that doesn't help. As you said, you've written book 1, that's out. You've written book 2, that's out. You're in the process of doing book 3. You've started writing book 4. Your brain is probably already on book 5.
Yes, and beyond. So sometimes I forget. Sometimes I forget like where you guys are at, like how much I've shared, what I have shared, what I haven't shared, and so most of the time I try and err on the side of like not saying something that might not have been said yet.
So how do you keep it all separate?
What was that?
How do you keep it all separate?
Well, as you can tell, my brain's a hot mess. But how do I keep it all separate? I have a Google Doc, a couple of them, and I've talked about them before. So I have one specific for the Orion's Order series, and it has, I mean, just copious notes of like scenes that I've seen already that I haven't written yet, but that will be in the future books. Just little side notes, phrases, things that come to mind that I know will happen, but that hasn't happened yet. And then I have a document that has each character broken out, like kind of like their bio or their dossier. And I've shared this in the last live, but I'm actually in the process of turning that into an insider's guide, and I'm hoping to publish it, guys, at the end of this year. And speaking of pole dancing and Keena and the steamy, except it wasn't really that steamy. It was more of like this emotional.
Yeah.
It was an emotional scene. So like when you think of pole dancing and things like that, you automatically think like, oh, it's going to be like super steamy and like X-rated. And I mean, this scene wasn't like that. It was just like a very emotional scene more than that. But we will. In this insider guide, there will be a scene between Keena and Riker And my brain is all jumbled today, but I believe I'm putting that in the insider's guide. And so you guys will get that. And there's also another scene that wasn't in book 1, but I know that a lot of people wanted it. And it was the scene where Callie dresses up in lingerie and drinks out of her once you go alpha mug. So that's the insider's guide too. And then you were saying something else, and now I can't remember what it was.
Do you have a notebook that you carry around with you to scribble ideas down, or do you just pop it on your phone?
It's on my phone. So I have, okay, so yeah, in the Google Docs, so I have like one for the Orion's Order series, one for like each character, and like the future books and scenes. And then I have one Google Doc for the species world and all the things in the species world that you guys don't even know about yet. There's a lot in there. And then there's a separate document and a couple that I have for different worlds and things that I've seen. Like in my last newsletter, I did a little blurb on dragons, and not a blurb, it was like 2,000 words or something. I mean, it was like a good chunk of a scene of these books that I'll write one day about dragons, and you'll get part 2 in the next newsletter. And so I have like several Google Docs all organized between like world and characters. And so I have that, and that's where it all eventually lands. And then as I'm just randomly like going about my day and I don't have access to like, well, not access, but like if I just want to jot something down really quick, I'll put it in the notes I have an iPhone, so I just put it in the notes, and then I'll transfer it over to the appropriate Google Doc when I have time. So yeah, that's a good question. Let's see. Does anyone have any questions? Just feel free to pop them in. More than happy to chat about them too. And there was something else that you said I was going to tag onto it, and now I can't remember, unfortunately. My brain is like that. Some days it's like, it's like that today. It's just, it needs like a time.
So how many books do you think we will be seeing with the order?
So 7, I believe. And one of them might be, I say it might be like a shorter, I mean, I might call it a novella, but really it might end up being a 400-page book than like my 700-page books. I don't know.
Your version, yeah.
Yeah, like a standard novel. I'm not sure, but so I'm not sure on the length, but one of them is like, I'm not sure if it's going to be like a full blown. So, but 7. So 1 for each of the male in Orion's Order, and then something that I can't really share yet, but I will share when I'm able to. But it will be a book of the Orion's Order, and it'll I don't know how it'll all play out yet, but I thought for a while, I thought maybe it'll be 5, but originally, like when I very first sat down in 2019 in January, and I started writing down these things that I was seeing in my head, these characters and their stories, I wrote down 7, and I wrote down like what each book would be, including like this not bonus, but like this book that you guys don't know yet, because if you count on your hand, you're like, wait a minute, we have Blake and Ryland and Riker and Deacon and
Riordan.
And so wait a minute. Maybe I'm getting confused here. Wait. Blake, Nico. Okay, Nico. I forgot Nico. Oh my God, I forgot Nico. That's why I was like, wait a minute. And then there's this 7 book, and you're like, wait, but we're all done with the male, so who's number 7, right? So anyways, as I'm at the end of book 4, literally, I'm hoping to finish the first draft by the end of next week, like the first week of June. So as I'm at the end, I'm like, oh, okay, I see. I like see how this mystery book is like playing out. And so maybe you guys will see it by the end too of book 4. But yeah, so 7. Long story short, 7. I always give long. That's why my books are so long. So you get all the details and more, more than you even wanted.
No, there's never no such as too much information as far as I'm concerned in a book. And to be honest, if it gets a bit boring, you skip a couple of pages, don't you? Which I've not done, I must admit, but there have been a few other books that it just seems to waffle on. So I just flick a few pages. And I don't think I've missed anything. So obviously, you know.
Yeah. I always say, like, when I go through books that are like that for me, and I'm like, I just want to get to the meat of the story, I always say, like, and I'm like, what if I miss something? So then I don't end up doing that. So your favorite scene in Calypso's Heart was the bar. Was it the bar scene? Is that what? Sorry, I was trying to remember what.
Yeah, no, I said, I think my favourite scene with Callie was when she bumped into what I thought was Blake until I realised it wasn't Blake.
That's right. So you mean like, yeah, right in the very beginning, right?
Yeah. And
yeah.
As you have an awesome playlist, it makes listening to and reading just something different as well. It's a bit like, as you said, watching a movie. You've got the music playing in the background, haven't you? Well, there's obviously quite a few songs in the playlist that just complement where you are.
Sorry, someone, that was weird. It was like someone was, Deb, was that you? Are you still trying to join? Do I send you another request, Deb?
Banging at the door.
Here, Deb, I will send you a request. Okay. Yeah, I love that scene in the very beginning, and there's something about.
Oh my God! Finally! Oh. It's driving me freaking nuts.
Yes.
Damn.
47 minutes later.
I was trying to do it on my laptop, so I said screw it and put it on my phone. Opened it up on my phone and got it to work. I called my daughter when she says, I can't see from here. You didn't, because I didn't do the chat thing. So she's telling me what to do. And I said, I'm on my laptop. And she says, well, I don't know how to do that.
I know. I don't know how to do it from the laptop either. I'm on my phone. And Julie, you're on your phone too, right?
Yeah.
Maybe that's a phone thing. So, okay, segue a little bit about.
Can we start over?
No.
I was going to say, segue into Deb and Julie here. So you guys are like BFFs, basically, right?
We are BBs. We are book buddies.
Yes.
So you guys are book buddies, and you guys met reading, was it Christine Feehan's book, or?
Yeah. We started off in like her chat room.
One of Christine's fan pages. And I noticed you kept liking all the comments or things that I posted. And then I think we sent each other a private message, didn't we? And we started there.
Yeah, because we didn't want to get personal on the chat page.
No, because she's got a really smutty mind. She's just wild, this woman.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You guys are.
My mind is not that smutty.
Oh,
I don't know what you're talking about.
No, of course not.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I have letters here. Describing, because we used to write to each other. We used to be pen pals and what have you. And we probably spend, we have a fair amount of time we'd probably send each other 2 or 3 letters a week, just
We
catching
did.
up
Yeah.
on
Yeah,
what
we
we
need
were
to,
reading. She led
yeah.
me astray. She's led me astray.
In books.
Yes, most of these books are her fault.
Or my fault.
Yes.
You already had Christine's books when we started chatting.
No, some of them, not all of them.
Well, I didn't either. It was my first book.
Okay.
Anyways, we're not here for us. We're here for MC.
Okay.
No,
Behave yourself.
you guys
Okay.
are a hoot. You really are. You're hilarious. And so for those of you guys who don't know, I met Deb and Julie because they chose to read Calypso's Heart. And so you guys, did one of you guys read it and then tell the other person to read it, or?
No, I think
Okay.
we both want. Oh, yeah. Julie might have heard about it first. And she does read a lot faster than me. But yeah, I got it. She just started reading a few pages or something, and I'm like at the bookstore. Like,
Get to the bookstore. Get to the bookstore.
Get to the
Or
bookstore.
get on. Buy it. You know.
Yeah, because she won't tell. She would only tell me bits and pieces, but I can't blame her, because when I read a book before her, I don't tell her everything either, because I still want her to be surprised when she reads the certain parts.
Right. Okay, so Julie read it, and then it went to Deb.
Yeah.
And then, so Deb, before you joined, we were just talking about like favorite scenes and Calypso's Heart and Riker's Key. And so,
Yeah.
Julie, you were saying your favorite scene was in the very beginning when Callie gets in, she like gets into like a little fender bender. Right, Julie?
Oh, yeah.
A little bit of a who she gets into the fender bender with. It's like there's a little bit of twisty.
Was it an accident or was it not an accident?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, what's your favorite scene in Calypso's Heart?
Anything with half naked men on.
Well, I love the brothers
Like
Keith and Nico.
Right?
Yeah.
So you like
I
this cover than the original.
Well, yeah, kind of, sort of, unless he was real, real picture. Yeah, Julie used to say I was kind of vain or whatever, because originally sometimes I would choose the books I'd read by the covers.
I mean, I think tons of that. I mean, I would say tons of people, it's always don't judge a book by your cover. No. I mean, really, let's be honest here.
Well, if it's a Western or a cowboy one and the cowboy's on the cover, kind of sweaty and everything, well, yeah, it's probably going to be good.
Right. Okay, so circling back to Calypso's Heart, sweaty covers aside.
I loved when the brothers would tease Nico and instigate the fights, or redo bedrooms and stuff like that.
Yeah,
those were some of my favorite ones. But
I must admit, I wasn't happy with the way that poor old Callie was captured and tortured. I must admit that, thinking, oh, hurry up, people, hurry up.
Yeah, that one kind of hurt. That one hurt.
So usually if I read before, I tend to tell her, don't read those pages. Why? You'll cry. If you cry, I've told you not to read those pages.
She usually is more, I think, cries more on certain pages than I would. But I know it's gonna, if she says we're gonna cry, I know it's, a heartfelt thing that's gonna happen.
So speaking of crying, I cry often when I'm writing scenes, well, that are like super emotional, and maybe it doesn't always translate into a reader crying, but for both of you guys, so we'll start with Julie. Do you remember a scene in Calypso's Heart, or I guess Riker's Key too, that had, getting all misty-eyed?
Well, obviously you said when Callie got captured and tortured, that made me cry. Because, at some point you're thinking, she's got to get rescued. Surely she's got to get rescued. Come on, And I'm just trying to think, in Riker's book, I think it was a little bit sad when, as obviously we were talking about earlier, the way that the relationship between the two twins was going to change.
Yeah. I worried about that, about it changing. I was concerned about it changing the dynamics of their relationship.
Yeah, we did.
They finish each other's sentences. They've got that, obviously, that twin bond, haven't they?
Absolutely.
I must admit, I am pleased you didn't put the three of them together.
Oh.
Yeah, that, like, I don't think, it just, not like I'm opposed to writing male, female, or menage or anything like that. It's just...
I don't want no twin cest.
It just didn't, like, I didn't see it. And I even in, like, I still couldn't see it.
No.
They're just not, like, that's not how their vibe is. They're just, like, they're brothers, they're just very close brothers. And yeah, not like I will never write like a male, female, or whatever, a threesome, a trinity, whatever. Not like I'll never do that, but it's just not between those three. I don't see it between them. But yeah. And so the dynamic, there is this scene, kind of like what we were talking about earlier, is there's this scene towards the end of book 2 where Riker and Ryland, it's right before Riker, I'm not going to give spoilers, but it's right before Riker goes in, and at the very end, sorry, I don't know how to say this without giving spoilers. So it's right at the very end where Riker makes this decision to do something very big, and it could mean a big shift in their lives. And so there's this moment where Riker looks at Ryland, and there's like this split second where they're looking at each other, and I just started bawling, even though it's only like 3 sentences. But it's like how I see it in my head. The way they looked at each other was just,
it was in there. They were talking in there. They didn't have to say anything. It was just the look that gave you the goosebumps and made you realize what they were saying to each other.
Yeah, it's just this silent look where it was like, wow, like, I love you, and I understand why you're doing this, but like, this is also like, it's huge. It's huge. Yeah. And afterwards, again, no spoilers, but there is also, you see this shift in the dynamic of kind of like how Kina and Ryland become a little bit closer over Riker. So I'm trying not to give any spoilers because I know there are people here that haven't read book 2 yet. And so
why not? Buy it! Read it!
Well, one of them, so like Cinna, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. She just read Calypso's Heart, like, I don't know, a couple days ago or something. So, or she just finished it. So she has book 2. She's reading it. It's 700 pages. So, give her a little bit of time. Read it.
Why? I did it in a night.
Yeah, which is crazy, but also you are a speed reader. I always say like you could win like an Olympic gold medal in reading.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so Deb, what was your favorite scene?
Um,
Or wait, you already said
I,
it. That was the Ryland and Riker, right?
yeah, but I think part was too is when they saved her, and that was a big one, I think, too, when they saved her.
You're talking about Callie, right?
Yeah, when they saved Callie from being taken and tortured.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
I
could
like
you could feel it.
all the emotions, and um,
Yeah,
I don't want to. Well, I guess I will say it this way. I was surprised at who was the one who actually took her out of the place. Of course, I in my head when
yeah,
not me as like the author translating like what I see, but me as like a human being and
right,
a reader, I automatically had this like, oh, it's going to be, so and so who's going
right.
to be the one to get her out. But then
Yeah,
really it actually someone else. So I was surprised at that.
yeah, I was too, and I think she stayed in that spot too. Wasn't she like that when they took her home? She was still with that person, wasn't she? Or did I forget?
No, you're right. It was she was with that person until the person we all thought was going to be the one to do it
Right,
arrived, and then they had
right.
this huge moment. But yeah, I think that would be the start. Well, I guess we just give
Well,
the spoiler.
it well, not completely. And it did show how strong she was with her powers too, even though, or that's when her powers started growing. They started realizing she could do things.
Yeah. And I think maybe we just give spoilers. Like at this, it's too hard not to, right? Like it's too hard. So like
We're
that's the moment
this
where
close.
what?
We're this close.
I know we're
This close.
already. You might as well. I mean, I guess I say I love that scene when that happens, because that's really the moment where like I would say Callie and Ryland's relationship really starts. Like they
Yeah,
have she has a bond with all of the pack, but that moment is
yeah,
when her and she doesn't even know it, right? But that's really, I feel like, the
right.
moment when they start their like pack bonding. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That
you'll
was,
see the book too.
yeah.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. I'm sorry. Go
No, no, it's totally fine. Don't need to
I'm
apologize.
so excited. I'm so excited. I finally got on.
I'm so happy that you guys are here. And so, okay, Victoria's saying, I love the bond all the Orion's Order brothers have. Yeah, it warms the soul. I know, I love that. I love how their pack is like a family, and it kind of reminds me of how even though they're not all wolves, it really is kind of like
Yeah.
a wolf pack, all really, really, really
Mhm.
close, like super close, like wolf pack bond. And you'll see like in book 2 and 3 and 4, you'll see how how those bonds kind of came to be, and you'll get glimpses into the start of like who joined the order and how, and like when did they do it, and so yeah, you'll kind of get glimpses into that in book 3 and 4, and then you hear a little bit about that also in book 2, right, when Riker is
Yeah.
sharing his or Riker and Ryland's sister. You'll kind of see how they ended up joining in the order too.
Yeah.
It is nice getting glimpses. So instead of starting like, them all meeting at, some order and what have you, deciding that they were all going to work together, it's nice them already being established, but we get to see them, snippets of their past, of how they all come together.
Yeah. And also, like, you'll see, just because they are super strong and they have that established like familial bond, they still are growing and shifting, even like throughout their stories, throughout the books. You'll see them kind of like changing and growing deeper, and yeah, so you get dynamics that way too, which I love.
Admit, it was quite good to see the fact that it's not all wolves. You've got a mixture of, you know, different strengths and what have you. And obviously, you know, you've got a few shifters. You've obviously got, you know, a vampire. And you've also got what we would call just, you know, a normal guy, even though obviously, you know, he's not from Earth. He's your you know, your Sterorian, you know. Yeah. So it's quite nice to have a mixture.
What about you?
Yeah, I agree. I especially, you know, seeing how they tease and give Nico a hard time, but when they're out, they're all business and they're all tight. And if something happens to him or to one of them, the rest of them are right there to back the other person up. They don't leave anybody out. They're just a tight bonded group.
Yeah. And I think that it really reflects on how, like, even if they're going through like their own turmoil with one another, or they have something going on, like at the end of the day, like if the time for it, like if something happens, like they set all of that drama and all of that whatever aside, and it's like, I'll be there for you no matter what, you know.
Right. Yeah.
I love that aspect about them. Sorry, I'm trying to get rid of those comments. Okay, cool. And so, Deb, what about Riker's Key? Do you have a favorite scene?
And Riker's Key.
She loves it when you talk about books.
I think I kind of liked the yoga and Riker's little tushy, or no, was it Ryland's little tushy sticking out?
Yep, that was Riker. Yeah, right in the beginning where Riker shows up to do yoga.
Yeah. That was funny.
It was really funny. And so side story on that, it's one of the teachers, like in real life, one of the yoga teachers that I learned from and did like yoga teacher training with, she actually teaches like NFL players, like football players. And so she I've heard that from her, where she's had to like modify how not modify, but she's had to, like, you know, she shares like how you would instruct someone who has that like big, muscly, hefty body. And I remember that one time where she said, like, their butt's not going to get any closer to the ground in this pose. Like, their muscles are so big, like there's just absolutely no way. And so that's kind of like how I envisioned it when I was like seeing Riker do yoga. I just see this like big, hefty, like muscly, essentially like NFL kind of player, like trying to do yoga.
Yeah, that was perfect description. Yeah, had a real good visual there when I was reading that part.
Right.
See, I told you, shallow.
What?
Absolutely shallow.
Oh, I am. Maybe in the future they can do some goat yoga.
Right. That'd be so cute.
My sister's doing that, and one of the goats had babies. So now the babies are running around while everybody's trying to do yoga, because they're trying to familiarize and get them used to people. So apparently the little ones are all over them.
Oh, it's so cute.
Yeah.
I could totally see the order doing like, maybe not with goats, but like, you know, with like Felix or like Akira, or I don't know, maybe in the future, like little pups and cubs and things like
Oh,
hanging
yeah.
about and
Climbing. And yeah.
like little, I could see like little kittens, like little
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think Felix would be too happy with kittens.
no,
Well,
no,
not those kind of kittens. Are
like
they called?
little shifter kittens. Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Well, you write the books.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. So we'll see one day. One day we'll see if that shows up.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. And okay, so favorite scenes, and what about like favorite characters? Do you guys have a favorite character?
Well, I've been really, really worried about Nico. But I don't know.
I like
because he's
my
suffering.
lost soul.
Yeah, Julie's a lost soul person. Yeah.
So does that mean Nico, Julie?
Yeah, but I must admit, I've got, as you said, there are something in each character that endears you to them. You know, Blake probably because he's the first one that we get to really know about. So it's a bit like your first love, isn't it? It'll always have that little special place in your heart, you know. Then obviously you've got Ryan and you've got Riker. They're fun loving, you know. Nico, because obviously the more that you get to know about him in very small snippets, I might add, you're a bit tight with the snippets.
Hey,
There's
side
no
note.
there.
The girls got House and Nico love, you know, and if you're not prepared to share, be prepared to get.
Hey, you guys gotta tell him that. I swear, he's so quiet. It's like, I've said this before.
Yes.
It's like, so quiet. And I'm like, the floor is yours. Like, what do you want to say here? And he's just like, he's very...
Yeah, I could just see him standing there, arms crossed, or just flipping a dagger at you. Yeah, no, you're not right.
Yeah.
No, that's really, just because I'm the writer doesn't mean I get like any like special privileges of behind the scenes. Like he really, him and Star, those two characters in their own way were really like
Star was hard work. Star was,
yeah.
I loved her, but she was just hard work. You'd want to shake herself. Seriously, girl.
Yeah.
Look at him. What are you doing?
Yeah,
I know.
There was a few times I wanted to shake her a little bit too.
You and me both. Like, I was writing her story and it's it just was like, what are you doing? Like, really, what are you doing right now? You know?
Right.
Like, but that's who she is and how she operates in life. And yeah, I'm a little worried, like how everyone will, you know, just to be honest here, I'm a little worried how everyone's going to, what they're going to think of Star and how she reacts in certain situations. But I hope that...
But I think once they get to know her, they'll realize why she is the way she is.
Exactly.
She's not doing it to be awkward. She's not doing it to be, you know, just because I can. There is quite a few reasons why. And at first, you're thinking, oh, Deacon, you deserve so much better. Seriously, boy, seriously.
Yeah.
You know? But the more you get to know her, the more you see her side of the story, you realise that, that's why she is the way she is. And I forgave her in the end, eventually, near the end, after 700 pages and whatnot.
Yeah, she's a tough cookie, and it's like, and Deb, I said this earlier, I don't know if you caught it, but I've added and like I've tweaked a lot. So like after I've gone through the first draft and you know, well actually I don't know, by the time you guys get it, it's like several drafts of me just kind of going through it. But it's interesting because when I write the stories, it's like she didn't show me like behind her scene or like behind her walls until like we go through the journey with her. And so as I was going back through and like editing, and it's not just like not softening her up, but it's more of like letting you guys glimpses a little bit sooner, so that way you kind of see why she's acting the way she is. And also you'll get glimpses into, they're just little tiny snippets, little tiny moments as to like help you kind of understand sooner in the story why essentially she's traumatized, you know, why she's traumatized, why she's acting from like that scared inner child, if you will. So she's like that place. And I think anyone in life, if you guys have ever been burned before by either like a or just another person in life, you know, there's, once that happens, it's like you kind of lose, like, so Callie, she's had bad dates and all the things, but like how she operates is like she's like, I'm just going for it, you know, like she's still in that place of going for it. And Star, she's just been burned and abandoned like so many times. It's like at a point where it just was, it's like you're run down, you know. And so even just meet some random person, it's like, yeah, I have trust issues. So unless you prove yourself,
like, it's quite nice as well because all three main female characters are all so really different. You know, because you read a lot of other books and it's like there's a format and I'm going to follow that. I'm just going to change the color of their hair, give them bigger boobs, give them whatever, and it's all roughly the same, you know. And you know, they've been traumatized, or you know, they're an 18-year-old virgin. Oh, somebody help me, save me, you know. Yeah, it's all right reading that, but once you start reading it again and again and again, it gets a bit samey, which is quite nice because obviously with long-standing series, it is hard for authors to change it up a little bit without losing the flow, because obviously there is a backstory in this series, you know, and to keep that going, you've got to keep it fresh, but to keep everything else, you know, without going stale, it's quite hard. And at the moment, Callie, Keena and Star are all really different, and it's nice to see that.
Thank you.
And they mesh well together with all the different personalities. They still find a way to get along with each other and kind of bond, which helps.
I quite liked the fact that Callie was accepted into the group pretty quick, and it's like Keena and Aaliyah hadn't really, they've got girlfriends, but they've not really had that bond. And it's like Callie's decided, you're mine, you're my friend, this is what we're going to do, and they go along with it. But they've gotten really close, they've gotten really, you know, they can tell each other anything. And then you've got Star with that ruddy great big wall and an electric fence over the top and landmines in front of you. I don't think that's going to stop Callie, though. I really don't.
Yeah, that you'll see. And so you'll see that. So okay, there was like a lot there. So I 100% agree. And it's like each character, female or not, they're just, it really reminds me of like in real life when you have like a family, whether it's your chosen family or like by blood, everyone is so different. Like there may be like similarities but everyone is so different, and they all have their own like, you know, thing, even though they grew up together or they have a similar background, but it's like they each still have their own unique qualities about them. And so like with all the female characters, it really reminds me of like, I'm thinking of like my sister's group of friends. They've been friends literally since like, some of them since like middle school, and they're still like best friends to this day. Yeah. And they all are so different now, but they each have, it kind of reminds me of that, of how they each have their own qualities, and yet they still come together and they mesh really well together, even though they're all like wildly different personalities. And so it kind of reminds me of that with the pack, not female characters, but everyone, but even the female characters too, they're all so different. And like you said, for Julie, like Callie, she is one of those people, and I think we've all maybe seen or met them in life, where she's like, instantly you're like, oh, I know we're going to be like best friends. So like, let's just, like fast track here, you know, like I know we're going to be BFFs. Like, so you start talking and it just like really flows really well. Yes. And same with Star and Callie, she's doing that same thing and she can feel it. And she's like, and you can see her like hesitating even in book 3, because she's like, well, wait a minute. Like I had that feeling like we were going to be BFFs. And so like, what's your deal, Star? You know, like, what's the deal? But like, I will say in book 4, you'll see once Star is already like integrated into the pack by the end of book 3, you'll see in book 4, Star starting, you'll see a totally different side of her, and how she incorporate and how she integrates into the female characters and the dynamics of the female characters in the pack. Like she's one of the hunters, and Star she's easily able to put on like I'm one of the guys. Like that's one of her masks. That's one of like her MO. And so, but you'll see in book 4 how she starts to kind of lift that layer and start to like integrate herself into the female side of the pack. And so you'll see a little bit more of that too.
I can't wait to see the mani-pedis that they give Star. That will be interesting, must admit.
Yeah, I don't know if Star's there yet.
Yeah.
They might be able to do the petties.
Yeah, she's so it's funny.
Will we get to see more of her neighbor? I liked her.
Oh. Yeah, I did.
So
really cute. I
so
mean,
like so like in book 3, so you guys have read it because you've beta read like a super early draft, but for those of you guys who are listening or watching the replay, in book 3 we meet well, Julie said it, we meet Star's neighbor, and so yeah, you guys will definitely see more of her in future things.
Well, we have a little bet going on. We obviously won't say anything because, you know, but I reckon I know where that's going. Deb reckons, yeah, all right, you're probably right, because usually I've guessed who the bad guy is, or, you know, by half a dozen pages and whatnot. But so we like doing that as well. You know, it's like, you know, you meet other characters and then you go, oh no, I don't like him. Oh, we were right. You weren't very nice.
Or we don't like him and her together. She should be with this guy, or
yes,
vice versa. Yeah. So we get little bets going.
I love it. I love it. And that will become clear in book 4 for you guys.
Good.
Yep. There's like this, oh, it's so hard because I know you guys haven't even, well, everyone in the world hasn't read book 3 yet, but there's some scenes in book 4 where I'm like, yeah. And then lucky you two being beta readers and being able to read like early rough, super rough drafts.
I must admit, you did definitely take us on a ride with that one.
Yeah.
with book
3, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like, and I think it also depends. I mean, I think I've said this, but it's like like we were talking about, the characters are so different. And so from book 2 to book 1, just story-wise, character-wise, it's so different because the characters are Riker and Kina are so different from Blake and Callie.
Yeah.
And same with 3, like Star and Deacon are so different from the other couples. And also like just me as a writer, it's like the technical side of writing, like it's also, you know, learning and grow. I'm trying to learn and grow.
Do you think you've gotten more confident as each book has gotten published?
Yeah, definitely. Confidence, but also I still think of myself as like just a baby author who's continuing to just learn and grow. And each time I sit down to write something, even if it's a sentence, I hope that each time it just gets a little bit better and a little bit better and a little bit better. And so book 3, I'm hoping, like, and I said this in another video, but do I think that the way book 2 was written was better than book 1? Hell yeah, I do. And I think the same thing of book 3 being better than the first 2, and same with book 4. And so I think that all kind of like plays into it as I continue to learn and grow, really.
And the characters are too. They're doing the same thing. They're growing, and some of their personalities, they didn't change their personality, but you can see little things that they may have adjusted, you know, for overall pack, or just the way they're getting along with everybody. They just grow and make sure so they can fit each other in to that group.
Yeah, the pack is changing, the dynamics are changing, and it's kind of like, I mean, it's really like when you have someone in who you're really close to, and then they bring someone else in, like they get into a relationship or they meet another really good friend, or it's like, how does that dynamic shift and how does it kind of learn to settle, and what becomes like the new norm. And I think that you do see that as the story continues. It's like, where is my place in the pack and how has it shifted? And, you know, who is this new person? And like, are we going to be super close, or are we just going to have like a super tight bond, or like, how does that work?
Yeah.
So when's book 3 out to buy?
What?
When is book 3 out to buy?
Yeah.
Out to buy.
Out to buy. So when is it going to be published? So it's probably, well, okay, I think October 19th, I think, because we're in not final rounds, like I say final rounds, but it's like this joke because it's like, you know, I'm saving these drafts and it's like Deacon star final, and then I get it back from the editor, Deacon star final Deacon star final. It's like it just keeps going and going. And so like right now I just sent it back to the editor yesterday for another round, and we do this song and dance every time. And like I said, book 3 is well, maybe I haven't said this, I'm not sure, but book 3 is the most like edited book that I've done. Like between books 1 and 2, there was editing and there was the back and forth, but I've added quite a bit to book 3 that I haven't done in the others. And it's like I was saying earlier, it's like being able to get more glimpses into Star. And it's not like I've made it up along the way. I literally can, and I was talking to the editor about this too. Like, I literally can only write what I see. And if I don't see it, like if the character doesn't show me, I'm literally just there like, like it's just like a blank. I couldn't tell you. So the things that I've added and always the things that I add in any story. It's always whatever I see. And so like sometimes it's me posing a question to the character, like Star in these cases. And so I actually added an epilogue because I've asked Star, and so you guys haven't seen the epilogue, but I added an epilogue and I asked Star some questions based on like feedback I got from you, both of you, and also just feedback from the editor and things like that. I ask questions and the characters decide like what they show me and what they don't. And so Star, after we've gone through her whole story and like she's decided she's kind of like accepted me to like be able to do this, she's like, okay, I will give you like some more glimpses into this, you know? And so when I ask her questions, more things showed up. And so I think it also helps you guys to, like I said earlier, just get glimpses into why she acts the way she does. And you'll also see things that I didn't see the first time around either. I've just added in, sprinkled in little things where she's shown me new things like along the way too. So, yeah, I can't remember what we were talking about or what question prompted that.
It should be out in October.
Thank you. That's what it was. So October 19th is what I'm thinking. And I've never done a pre-order before. So on like the non-writing side of things, like purely from like a business publishing standpoint, I'm trying to figure out how that works. How do I do pre-order? Like I was kind of playing around with it this weekend once I kind of like honed in on that date. And so I'm going to try, and what I learned, just FYI or fun fact, what I learned over the weekend was that Amazon is pretty like strict with pre-order dates. So like if you have like a pre-order date, and I'm not talking about, maybe it's different for like some bigger name authors who have like a bit more pull than I do. But I don't know how it works for them. It could be different, but for me,
I kind of got the feeling they didn't have pull either.
What?
I kind of got the feeling from some of them that they didn't have any pull either. Kind of whatever the editors want to do.
Yeah. And so that's like from a traditional standpoint. So like from a self-published standpoint, like I really, and I love this, it's like I get to have so much control over, I guess the things that I can have control over, like the story and what gets cut, what gets added, how long it is, who's going to be in the next story, all of that. And like side note, that played into a lot of my decision to pursue self-publishing versus traditional publishing, because I didn't write these, well, I say it like this. I wrote these stories because they wanted to be written. And so in traditional publishing, I could be wrong. I've never done it. I'm still new to the industry. I don't know. But from what I understand is that I don't have, sorry, it froze for a second. I think, but from what my understanding is, like from a traditional standpoint, they really have, publishing standpoint, they really can control like how the story ends up going and like whose book gets written next. I mean, like I'm sure the authors can collaborate and do all of that. I don't know. So that could just be my own misunderstanding speaking. But from a self-published standpoint, I really am in the driver's seat, and I get to go out and find like an editor and a graphic designer and like people to like work with and that I feel like I vibe with. And so I have a lot of control over not only the story and what gets published and how much and what the cover art looks like and the inside and all of that, but also it's a lot to try and learn. And
it is a lot.
Yeah, and I'm still learning, and I'm not even, just like business things aside, it's one day I hope to hire like a team of people to just do all the things.
Do it all. Yeah.
Because we've had that discussion before, haven't we, Deb, where it feels like some of the books that we've read either felt rushed or they've
Yeah.
given in to fan pressure, or it felt cut off at a certain point, you know, because you get to know some of your favorite authors, and you get to know the way that they write and what have you. And there were a couple of instances where, you know, why is this book out? It shouldn't be out yet. It has, you know, the characters haven't had time to evolve, and now you're throwing them together. You know, is that because, you know, so many fans wanted these two people together, and then you get others that you're thinking, I don't know, they didn't get that sense that they were going to be together. It should have been somebody else. You know, is that, you know, the poor author having to give in to pressure?
Yeah. And some of them just, you're reading along and then it's just over.
It stops. You think, where did that go?
Yeah. You're like, this can't be right. This isn't the ending you usually, you know, where's the ending to the story, or, you know, and it's
a battle that, you know, has been going on for ages, has stopped. We're all buddies, and they're off into the sunset.
Yeah.
What happened there then? Seriously.
Or they put two together and they're together, but it's almost like they're together in two separate rooms through the whole story. And then at the end, they're together in the same room, and you're like, you know, how did they get, you know?
Yeah, sometimes you'd like to see the process. And if it's just, as you said, you know, two people in two rooms, and all of a sudden by the end of the book they're in the same room, well, how did you get there? You know?
Yeah, I agree. It's, and one thing I will say, this one thing about the stories that I write, at least, is I don't think it's a secret at this point that I just write what I see, and so what you guys end up seeing is exactly what I see too. And that's one of the things that I love about self-publishing, is that I really have, I'm able to just do that. I'm able to just write whatever it is, and you guys get it exactly as I see it too. And so there is no manipulation there. And in fact, in book one, in Calypso's Heart, there's 0 deleted scenes. 0. I didn't cut anything. And maybe people have a problem with that, or, you know, they have thoughts, concern, whatever. But, and I think the same in book 2. I don't think I have any deleted scenes from book 2 either. And book 3, I certainly didn't cut anything. I added. So, you know, and whether that's good or bad or changes in the future as I grow as an author, who knows? But right now, I mean, and I foresee this continuing just as I write, because I write to just share these stories. I don't write for like other reasons, you know? So yeah, you guys get all the all the things that I
Great.
see.
Wrist ache.
The what?
The wrist ache. Because these are bad, these are big boys, you know. I mean, seriously. Come on.
Wait, what?
What are you doing, Julie?
They're, you know, they're hefty reading.
Oh, yeah.
They are hefty reading. You know?
They are.
They are 700 plus pages.
They are. And this is reformatted. So, Deb, I don't know if you've seen the back or the...
Ooh. No, I didn't see that.
So I just reformatted it. This is like the paperback version. They should be live now. These are the proof copy. I just got one of the proof copies. I'm waiting for the other ones to come in, but I just reformatted it. And so it's actually 640 pages or something like that now. But I changed the font, and also I just tried to condense it a little bit more, because it ends up being cheaper for you guys to buy if they're less pages. It goes by like how many pages. But anyways, the point is that, yeah, I'm not skimming at the top or skimming over the edges. Like, you guys literally get like all all the things that I see you guys get as the story, like at each point in the story that's meant to be shared at that point. So yeah, there's a lot that goes on in these stories. And in fact, you know what? I'm curious if you guys picked this up. So I mentioned this in the previous live. So there's these stories, they're so big, and they have so much detail where each time around you might pick up new things now that you know what's going to happen. You things. So like, I'm curious. I'm trying to figure out how to word this. I'll say it like this. When I first learned Callie's name, Calypso, I was like, why is that her name? Like, it didn't make any sense until like, I can't remember what page it is, 500 and something, I'm guessing. And then it finally made, like, as the author, I question these things, you know, like names mean a lot. And so they have like a lot of meaning. They're not just like random things that like happen. And so I kept wanting to be like, Callie, why is your name like Calypso? Why is it water? You don't have anything to do with, you know, water. You're not a water being, you know, anything like that. Any sense. But we actually find out around, I don't know, towards the end of the book, 500 and something, I'm guessing. Did you guys pick that up?
Just trying to think. I must admit, it's been a while since I've read the book. I have to admit. And when obviously book 3 comes out, I do like to try and reread book 1 and 2 to sort of like freshen.
Rain coming in?
No, I'm gonna have to say no.
No worries. I feel like not many.
Yeah, we'll have to read it again. Yeah, we usually go back and read the books,
which is
several
what we
times.
yeah,
and we always
we like to tease and torment each other, don't we? Well,
yes.
or I like to test her to see if she's actually been paying attention.
She does quiz me once in a while. I do get quizzed once in a while about a story or a character, or you know, if she thinks I'm paying attention.
I love it. So yeah, that's I mentioned that because I don't think many people pick that up, and that's constantly like happening throughout all this. I mean, I'm at the end of book 4 now, and it's all 4 books. There's just little tiny things that like are sprinkled through, and there's certain phrases that are used very specifically. And so I love, and I say that because like, I love books like that. I love books where you're like, holy crap, I'm at book 6 and all of a sudden I understand something that happened in book 1. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I like that.
Like, wow.
Yeah. Something will just click.
Mm-hmm. I love that so much. And I feel like I hope there are little moments like that happens throughout these books too. Yeah. So let's see.
I was just gonna say, usually we take notes when we're reading them and have little booklet notes for each book.
Yeah. I love that. I like highlighting and jotting down certain things. And
we can't write in the books though, or bend the cover or the covers or the spines, right, Julie?
Or the pages. People that
dog. Yeah.
Oh.
No dog leg in the pages.
Seriously?
Julie look like mint condition.
Most of my books look like they haven't been touched, but they are well read. I am not a spine bender. I see people do that. I come out in a cold sweat. And obviously it was like when I got your books, you sent me, I'm really sorry, but it's fine. It's fine. Okay.
I'm going to say, you know, when I'm like, I will never forget that so like here, not sometimes, but often I get books like shipped to me and I don't always catch it because sometimes I'm just signing and packaging. And so like this one, I only got one because I was trying to get a proof copy, but you can see like look what happened here. What is happening here? And this is supposed to be the proof copy. And I like,
look.
That's weird.
Don't make me look.
I freaked out. I totally freaked out. And I was like, immediately, and my boyfriend was like, what's wrong? And I was like, what do you mean, what's wrong? Like this little thing right here. So Julie, I always will remember that the spine that you got was all messed up. And I'm like, oh my God, it's horrific. It's horrific. But hopefully, you know, this proof copy, and a lot of them, they didn't have any spine issues or anything. Sometimes they get all, you know, wacky and bent pages and this and that, but I don't know. I think it's just, sometimes it just happened like that. But yeah, no bending pages, no dog earring. I've been like that my whole life. I remember being in like, you know, grade school or even high school or growing up, and like, even like those literature or like, you know, textbooks and stuff. And I remember people would like highlight or like bend the pages, and I'm like cringing, just cringing.
I've seen people do that on the train or on a plane and whatnot, and I've had to move. I've had to walk away. He's going, where are you going? If I don't walk away, I'm going to take the book. I'm going to run off with it. I'll set you free. Come home with me. I'll look after you.
Right. And Julie, in your book, and yours was like one of the very first books like I really signed. I mean, really, at that point, I only signed like a handful. And so when you ordered a signed copy, I remember, and I hope you don't mind, I totally went in and I left like a little secret heart on the page where I took that quote and I put the quote in the very front of the book when I signed it, and I left a little secret heart, and I know you caught it, and I hope you don't mind that I did that.
No, those cherishes.
I've done with my therapy now. We're okay. I can now move past that. We're all right. It's like, you know, it's like an author sends you, you know, some love and whatnot. Okay.
So feel free to do it.
They love me. They love me. They love me. They love me. They read my book. Okay.
I thought like, oh, as you're reading, you're gonna be like, oh my God, there's like a cute little like heart right here on the side because this is the quote, and like, look how thoughtful. And then I got your message, and I was like, wow, I just really effed up all of that, all of that thing. Julie got an effed up book, and then on top of it, I wrote a little heart on the quote that I
scribbled in my book.
You freaked.
I heard about it too. As soon as she found it, I heard about it. I thought it was adorable, but
I know. I felt so bad. Afterwards. So
no, it's fine. I know. No, it was fine. It was fine. She says.
Yeah.
I've stopped taking medication now.
Yeah, she did survive it. Yes, I said, Julie, breathe.
Yeah, just remember I was like a little baby author thinking I was being all cute and big.
But I do it again.
Yeah,
do it,
I can't wait to see what you scribble in book 3.
I won't. And since your book, I don't think I've done that. I was like traumatized. I was like, wow. Really?
And I must admit, I was looking forward. I'm thinking, she doesn't love me. She's not written anything. She's not scribbled nothing.
Like, you know, it's like you got to make up your mind, Julie. You know, love or no love. You know?
Right. So I definitely have not written in, other than on that very first page when I sign it. Ever since your book, Julie, I was like, okay, I'm not doing that again, because what if someone is another Julie and they're like reading, they're like, oh my God, why is there like a little heart next to this quote in the book?
Now Julie's going to get all kinds of hate mail.
Yeah.
It's all Julie's
Deb,
fault.
It usually is.
Yeah.
Do you like,
I'm sorry?
Deb, would you have liked, like, if you got a signed copy and there was like, so like what happened was like on this very first page, I signed it and I put like a quote up here, and then in the book I found like where the quote was, and I just put like the tiniest like heart next to it.
It's huge. like covers half
I would have
the
thought it was
page.
cute. I would have loved it. I would have loved it. Right in my redhead.
You got like a one of a kind. Are you trying to
Right.
find it? I swear, like page 312 or something. I'm like traumatized by it.
See, I was worried she was going to traumatize you.
Yeah, here I thought I was being all cutesy, and Julie's like having tremors, like convulsing in the corner, like she can't handle it.
I'm not going to justify myself. I have an
No.
OCD with books.
I want to thank you because I learned a lot, like in that experience. Like me, I was just operating from like what I'd be like, oh, I would be like, wow, that's so cool, like to get like this like additional personalization. Like the author was like, that's where I was thinking, like, oh wow, like they were thinking ahead of
See,
time.
look, it's huge.
That thing is small.
What's huge?
It's huge.
There's the little heart that I spent a lot of time drawing so it wouldn't be all crooked.
There's
and
two. There's not one, there's two. One each
Yeah, 'cause
side.
I'm like hearting the little quote, like there's the quote. And
I was lucky that you didn't highlight it or fold the page. That would have just sent me into a shock.
okay, I never would have done that. The highlighting is a big heck no for me. Same with the page corners. But Julie, you have a one of a kind.
That's right.
I know, but you still wrote him a book.
I'll trade
All
you
right.
books, Julie. I'll trade you books.
No.
Right. So, everyone, you let me know, other people here, if you got a signed copy and you got a little personalization of the heart and the quote.
I'm just going to be villainized now, aren't I?
What would you have done?
Talk to Julie.
Nobody's going to want me to read their books anymore. Nobody's going to want me to read their books. I'm going to lose all my followers.
No, oh my God, no. And I want to, honestly, Julie, and I've said this before, but like, thank you, because that experience, sorry, there's like a little fuzz thing. Thank you, because that experience, I learned a lot. Like, I learned like, oh, not everyone would like that. People like to have just the inside nothing. And so thank you, and thank you for like being on this journey with me as I learn and grow and make mistakes and keep going. So I appreciate both of you guys. Thank you.
That's fine. I'm going now before I get lynched.
Yeah, we'll talk about.
I'll wake up tomorrow morning and my Instagram will be full of hate mail.
No way, because there's got to be people. You're not alone in that. There's going to be people. It's like how some people like dress jacket covers and some people don't, so there's going to be people, and that's what I learned. Like I learned like there's going to be people that would appreciate the little like heart or something in the book, and then there's going to be people that don't. So I better err on the side of don't do it and just do like, unless they mention it, and then just do like a whatever I want on this like very first page. So
Probably going to have people saying, please put a heart in there, and you're going to know why they all are asking for a heart.
I'm happy to do it. And then just so you guys know, it takes me, just so that the hearts aren't all like scribbly and scraggly, it takes me a while to just drop a little heart so that it's all perfect. Julie, I was so nervous when I did those hearts in yours because like, what if I messed up? Then
you did. You wrote him a book.
Right.
Julie, chill pill.
I'm all right.
Yeah,
but at least they're like nice. They look nice. No. They're not like messy hearts.
I thought it looked.
I know exactly where the thought came from, and now I've gotten over the shock. 2 years later, I can now open it and not break out into a cold sweat.
And you can appreciate the heart now.
I can now appreciate the heart. But if you're writing my book again, I'm going to hunt you down.
You know, just for that, one day, maybe I'll send you like a little surprise book, and it will have notes in it, and you will.
Oh no.
You will flip or bend the page.
Yeah, you just want me to video my reaction, don't you, when I open it?
Yep. Now you have to. You have to have a video of the reaction. Okay, let me see. Did you or anyone else have any questions, or let us know what you guys think about if you got a personal book?
Yeah, anybody got book her issues?
It's just me.
Let me see. Okay, so I actually do, because I feel like I'll be able to get a glimpse into you guys a little bit more with these. So, is there a character or a certain characteristic from a character? How many times can I say the word character? Okay, so is there a character or a certain aspect from a character that you wish you could be more like?
Yeah, I'd like to be a wolf. There's plenty of people I'd like to bite at the moment.
What was that?
I'd like to be a wolf.
You'd like to what?
A wolf.
She wants to be a wolf because there's people she wants to bite.
Oh.
Isn't that vampire, Julie?
No, that one or the other. I must admit, I think I'd like to be like Callie, you know, a bit more, you know, I wouldn't call it laid back, but I think she looks at life in a different way, you know, whereas obviously you've got Kina, who is quite into fitness and healthy body and what have you. You've got Aaliyah, who is into healthy mind and what have you. And I think Callie is sort of like still struggling to fit in to this new world, but she's not trying to let her get her down. You know, whereas obviously you've got Star, who is, she's a little bit broken and what have you, but I class her as like a warrior woman, you know, and obviously you've got the other two, which are relatively happy in their own skin, whereas obviously Callie is new coming into the world, but she's relatively happy with who she is, but she's still trying to find her way in that new world.
Yeah. What about you, Deb?
She
just wants to be a cat so she can lie in the sun all day.
Oh, well, yeah, sure. Yeah, probably a cat. Probably a cat, not because I want to bite anybody, but, you know, they're fluffy and cuddly and I don't know, but Ryland and Riker aren't really cuddly. They're cuddly, but not, you know. So, I don't know. I really like Callie's personality, though. I think she's the one that I can relate to more, I think. Yes.
And that's a question. So relating wise, so you can relate to Callie a little bit more. And Julie, what about you? Is there a character that you relate to more than the others? Like,
I suppose, to be honest, Nico. You know, he's quite, you know,
the brooding male. I'll take the bear child. She'll take the brooders.
See what I've got to put up with, seriously. No, you know, the fact that he holds himself aloft, you know, he doesn't, although he's got people's backs, he doesn't trust very well. It takes a long time to earn his trust. And the fact that, you know, yeah, he's been around a while and yet he's still on his own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More as like the story unfolds, you'll get glimpses into like, even though he's a part of the pack, like you said, and even though he'll without question be there for any one of his pack mates, he still has like layers of ice and like a kind of a barrier between a certain level of people getting to know him.
You know, it's like, I don't know whether or not sometimes he feels like he wants to drop these barriers, but there's like a plane of, you know, like a plate of glass or a barrier in front of him, and he can't quite break through, you know. And you get those glimpses of him when he, you know, pranks Riker and Ryland back, you know, the way that he is around the females rather than, you know, he is, yeah, slightly dominant, slightly, you know, caustic and what have you, but I don't think it's in his nature to hurt them. It's in his nature to protect them.
Absolutely. Yeah. He's absolutely a protector at heart. And so much so that he'll often err on the side of, I don't know how to say this without giving too much away, but he'll so to go to your analogy or whatever it is about the glass, partly he has that. There's like this barrier that he's that's there between him and like other people, and sometimes he feels like it's not like it's out of his control, but it's like that's just the hand he was dealt, you know, so that's just there. But then on the other flip side of it, he does make conscious choices to keep that there. And I'll say a lot of the times it's because he thinks it's better for other people. It's like he's protecting other people from himself.
And I suppose, well, because he's so much older than everybody is, you know, I suppose, yeah, and technically he's a non-shifter, and, you know, yes, he's sort of like, I would assume he's sort of like second in command and what have you. And yeah, we do get little snippets of his character and what have you, you know.
We do. We get snippets of, there's like, the twins are experts at bringing out this, really the side of Nico that we kind of like fall in love with a little bit. The twins are experts at it, and that's not by mistake. They do that by design. They've seen him, and now that they've been with him for so long, they know, like, oh, well, we know how to do this. Like, yeah, we're totally like playing with him, but really, and it is, they're playing with him, and that's able to get him out of his shell in those certain ways. And they do that very consciously. And you'll see even more, like, as we learn and continue through the story, you'll see Ryland, like I was saying, he uses that humor, that ability, his like charming, humorous ability, really like strategically. And he'll do that, and he'll paw with people, and he'll play with them, and that's like him. That's like how he shows his affection. Like that's how he shows his care, and he also is able to like help people bring them out, like out of their shells a little bit. And the other side of like Nico is like you said, he is older than, well, I'm trying to remember how old Deacon is. He hasn't hit the big 2 yet, so he hasn't quite hit 200, but he's pretty close. And then Nico is 300, I believe, around 300. I can't remember if there's an exact number or not. And so he is older than all the male characters, but he's not that much older than Aaliyah, and I can't remember how old Kina is, but I think Kina's in her 200s.
I suppose it's just the air that he gives off. You just assume, you know, and I suppose as well, we've been conditioned to think of vampires, you know, because we've read so many, we've watched so many, that vampires are ancient.
Yeah.
You know, and, you know, the more that you read and what have you, you know, you get sort of like sucked into that, you know, vampires are, you know, centuries old, or, you know, it all depends what you've read and what have you. But yeah, most of the vampires that I've read are, you know, they're young at 300. You know.
Yeah, and definitely, I think it's put into perspective. But he's older than the other males by some of them quite a bit, like a century or two, and then I think Aaliyah, I mean, I don't know, I don't always have exact dates or numbers, but I get the feeling they're only about 50 years ish apart. Like, I get the feeling she's like 250-ish, and he's like,
I think there's a quote between them that she's the older woman between him and Riker. I think almost certain there's a quote between someone. It's either
yeah, quote with Callie, and she's like, I always forget you guys are actually not just older than me, but significantly older than
Bert. Yeah.
And yeah, so Nico, and he also, like, that contributes to his, another thing that contributes to his age is that he's lived a hard life. He's lived a hard life. There's a lot of things that he's lived through that has aged him in a way.
Yeah.
And so he's much, much older and operates from a certain perspective and a certain way of life. And so this pack, who's significantly younger and more energetic and, you know, youthful, for lack of a better term, they help bring back his youth that how do I say things without giving it away? But they help bring back this air of youth to him that he never had, and he never really got a chance to. So,
I'm wondering if he's part of an aristocratic type family from his name. Kind of led us down a different direction.
Yeah, and it's a good question. And how do I say this?
You're gonna have to wait and read it.
I think you'll probably have to wait and read it, but I guess I'll say it like this. If he is, then he's never told me. All that I know of what his family is, and we get more as
right.
I keep saying that, but
as his story unfolds.
As his story unfolds, we learn a lot about, we get a lot about his background, why he is the way he is, what's going on there, like behind the layers of ice. You know, as that happens, we'll get more into that. But like I was saying earlier, even like about Star and other and him specifically, he's very protective of like who he is, and so I haven't seen all the glimpses into him either. And so as of right now, I haven't seen if he is, and I get the feeling like I see him like looking at me like, but it's like I get the feeling he probably won't tell me, because that's not, in his mind, it's not like, it's like, who cares?
It's not relevant to who he is now or something.
That's the vibe that I'm getting, is he's like, whatever, I don't care where I'm from or who I'm, you know, what, it doesn't freaking matter, you know. But so I don't know if we're gonna get that or not, but Yeah. I will say that we'll learn more. We definitely will get to see more of his background. We get glimpses, just a couple glimpses in book 3, but we do get more in book 4 too. Um, and then Reardon, interestingly enough, he is also one of those characters where he's very quiet, but in a different way. So like Nico's quiet because he's like stone cold and has like ice walls, and he's like, don't freaking get close to me. And Star is very similar. Hers is like, get too close and I'll fucking burn your ass.
Yeah.
And then Reardon, and he's very quiet, but not in those ways. He's just very, I get this vibe where he's like, whenever he speaks, like I'm like, okay, I'm all ears, because he doesn't speak very often, and when he does, there's like a lot of meaning behind it. And so we actually don't get a lot of glimpses into. It's okay.
Sorry, just plugging myself in. I heard something. I don't think it. I think I've got plenty of juice, but I just wanted to make sure. Sorry.
No, it's totally fine.
Whoops. I've just got
No
issues
worries.
all day today.
It's
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. Okay.
no, it's
Reardon.
okay. I was just saying, Reardon, we don't see a lot of him in book. We get glimpses, and when he shows up, I write it in, but he's one of those characters that are more like he's like an observer most of the time. I mean, it makes sense. He's a seer, and he's used to like seeing not only the future, but like seeing things like play out that he's already seen. And so he's just naturally, and especially as he's also super, super old, he's just more of like an observer. So we don't get to see like a lot of glimpses. I guess we get glimpses. We don't get like huge sections. And I think also a part of it is because once his story comes, we'll get more and more and more.
Well, yeah, because I suppose, because at the moment, if he could see who was behind all of this, there'd be no books. So I suppose at the moment he's keeping quiet, because if he gives too much away, then you're either going to have to find something else for the Order to chase, which obviously they do. You know, obviously book 1, they, rescued Callie and what have you. Book 2, they got involved with, obviously, a few other things. I'm sure in book 3, they've obviously got different things that, so there is a separate story to each book, but there is a book, a story that does connect in the background, and you get a little bit more with each book.
Yep, absolutely. And the interesting thing about seers, at least in this world, the species world, seers, they don't always see everything. And just because they see something doesn't mean that it's not subject to change. And Reardon makes this very clear in, I can't remember what book, but he makes it very clear that free will like plays a big part. So like someone like he could see a vision, and then through like by him sharing it, or by the other person just making another decision in life or something, it could alter the timeline. And so things that he always sees doesn't always play out. And so some of it is he keeps quiet, but he's more of an observer and watcher to see. And some things are like, I guess and that's the thing about seers, is it's one of the characters, it's a huge responsibility, and it's a heavy weight to bear. And like he's done it for so long, and it's just this big weight. Like I can feel it, and he takes it in stride, and he has his whole life. And it's just because you're a seer doesn't mean you know everything that's going to happen, and not everything's going to be fine. And another interesting aspect to seers is that they can try to induce a vision. You know, there's ways to like set the stage to invite a vision in,
Yeah.
but that it's always going to show up. And so that's also, you know, plays a part in book 2 and other aspects too. And so like, and we also learned that the mastermind is able to like block or like like cover up seers from seeing him, you know. And so we see that too. And so there's a lot that goes on, and it's not like Reardon's like sitting in the back watching popcorn like withholding information. It's just this like delicate balance of how much do I share, when do I share it, if by me sharing it, is this going to actually change what I saw? Is this going to make it so it doesn't come true anymore?
But he said something like that when he was talking to Callie, I think, because she wanted to know, well, if you knew all of this, why wasn't her kidnap stopped? Well, if he'd stopped her kidnap, would she have then trusted the order? You know, so I suppose he has to let a few things play out. But if I remember correctly, I don't think they actually knew where she was. He was obviously keeping Callie under the radar. So obviously they didn't know where she was, you know? And obviously there's, you know, the fact that, you know, if he stops a scene in one way, it could go a completely different way. Before you know it, it's gone off in a completely different tangent, and you've lost where it was supposed to be going.
Yeah. I mean, seers their abilities are so complex and convoluted, and it's not black and white. And sometimes the things seers see are just a still picture of something, and it's just a 1-second glimpse. And sometimes they get a whole like movie scene, and sometimes all they get are like a feeling, like, oh, okay. And I think I joke about this a little bit in book 2 maybe, but maybe it's book 3, but they have like an uncanny ability to just be in the right place at the right time. And it's not because they saw like, oh, at 2:13 p.m. I'm going to be right here on the corner of whatever and whatever. It's just like they find themselves in this place, and it's like this inner tug. And so sometimes the seers, they don't always get like clear vision. Sometimes it's very unclear. And like in book 2, we see how Reardon and even the Whisper, they're trying to see, and it's whether the mastermind is blocking them or just the way their ability is working. It's not like manifesting because maybe there's a decision that needs to be made, or maybe because it's too far in the future and there's too many possibilities that are going to happen. And so it's interesting though. I mean, I'll say it like this. So seers are an interesting character because you think as a reader when you're reading and you're like, oh, there's a seer. So now there's going to be, they're going to know what's going to happen, and they're going to be able to stop this, or why didn't they stop that? Or why didn't they share this? And they don't always know. And like, so specifically for Callie's kidnapping, he didn't know. I mean, Reardon, point blank, I've asked him that when I was first writing Calypso's Heart. He didn't know that Callie was going to be kidnapped, and he didn't know where she specifically was. But he was able to see glimpses into it, and that's how they got the clues to be able to find her.
Yeah.
But he doesn't see everything, you know?
Which is quite nice as well, because you know, you get all the shifters, you get the vampires and what have you, and usually if you get a seer, they're either in the background, they're either an evil mastermind, or they're like an afterthought. Oh, went to a seer, they told us we need to go in that direction. So it's quite nice to have an actual character rather than just an afterthought.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I feel like, okay, I feel like Reardon's telling me like seers are very like misunderstood. Like you were saying, they're very, it's very like a part of me is a little bit scared. Like I'm a little afraid to try and write Reardon or like a seer character because they are so complex and they're so misunderstood, and it's not as black and white. It's very gray. They live a very gray life, and they also have this. They're also like highly susceptible to getting lost in a vision and getting in the mental space. It's like, what is reality? What isn't reality? It's like, I don't know if this has ever happened to anyone or either of you. It's like when you wake up from a dream and you're like, am I still, there's like a couple seconds of, am I still dreaming or am I still sleeping?
Yeah.
They
have those deja vu moments.
Yeah, they're constantly shifting between these states of consciousness, if you will, and so they're constantly dancing this line, and so they are, you know, they're highly susceptible to get lost in what is reality and what isn't, and what's in their life. And so yeah, they're very complex characters. I can already, I mean, and I've seen a lot of Reardon, not a lot, but the glimpses I have seen of him and a couple other seers, it's there's just a lot there. And they're also, people think of them as, like you were saying, Julie, like kind of like this ultimate information source, and they are, but you got to take it with a grain of salt, you know, like what they say and what they see. Some of it's subject to their interpretation. Like if they see, well, you actually see some of this in book 2. I won't give it away, but we get glimpses as to what the Whisper is seeing. Mm-hmm. And this is like the part of the subplot. We get glimpses we're seeing, and we're thinking it's going like a certain way, but then lo and behold, it ends up going a different way. That was a very seer, vague thing to say, but anyway.
It's just nice to see or to get a different character, because most of them, as you said, you get vampires, they're all roughly the same. You know, they've got super strength, can drink your blood, don't come out, you know, and obviously then a few writers have taken vampires that can walk in the day. You get a few vampires that obviously can't take the sunshine. You get wolves that can shift only at full moons. You get others that can shift as and when they want. But so at the moment, it's, you know, the market is sort of like flooded with, yeah, vampires, shifters and what have you. So it does make quite a nice change to have, you know, because it's not a wizard, he's a seer. He looks into the future and what have you. He interprets what he sees. So, you know, it is, you know, it makes a nice refreshing change to read something different.
Yeah. And I think, at least in the vampires too, and this is mentioned in book 1, the vampires in the species world, they are also, even though they're not shifters, they are technically like considered cousins of shifters, if you will. And so it's like branched off in the species evolution of things. So like they all come from like the shifter ancestry or something, but they've actually branched off. And the same thing is with mermaids. I think they're called Sirenians, and then Alicerians also, the angels. So they're technically not shifters. They don't shift between animal and non-animal forms, but they have an animal aspect, spirit, I don't know, to them. And so with vampires, physical manifestation is their fangs and some other things, characteristics that they have, the night vision. They are nocturnal predators, so they have the night vision, these fangs. They have other things, characteristics that happen. And we'll see it as I write more and more of Nico specifically,
Uh-huh.
but we'll see vampires is how they don't shift between forms, but he definitely recognizes the inner animal, the inner beast, the inner animal spirit.
You get that in book 3. Because I think he calls himself a bit of a beast.
Yeah, and so he doesn't shift between the beast form and the human form, but he still has that inner. It's
like an inner voice, or as he said, when he tries to contain the beast, it's like his darker side that needs to come out. And if you think about it, that's a bit like a shift, isn't it? If he lets the dark side out, bad things are going to happen. So he needs to keep that in.
Yeah.
Well, doesn't he shift or something? Wasn't it book 2 where he was one place and then he manifests himself someplace else?
Yeah, so a part of the abilities, some vampires, not all of them, have the ability to fade, and it's just dematerializing, rematerializing. So he has that ability. He also has another ability that not all vampires have. Some of them, and the thing about species is that they're evolutionary beings, which means, in my mind, that means as they grow, they can also grow and evolve into new abilities too. So not all vampires will be born with the ability to fade, but some might grow into it. And so Nico has another aspect of mesmerizing. Not all vampires are born to mesmerize, but some could grow into it. And there's some abilities that are commonly, like after a few centuries, you could get the ability or go stronger or whatever. So yeah, trying to think if there was anything else about that.
I'm going to have to go because it's 10:30 for me.
I was just about to say, I know my voice is getting hoarse, and we've been, holy crap.
Yeah. Yes.
It's,
Is this our nighttime chat too, Julie?
Yeah, I'm going to bed.
Yeah.
I know. 2:30 here. So does that mean we've been doing this for 2.5 hours?
2.5 hours. Yeah.
Yeah.
Time flies.
Well, you two have.
I know. Yeah,
we chat. You kept knocking on the door and let me in.
I know it. I laughed when I was sending that message and going, this ought to be interesting. Julie, I can see you.
Well,
anyway, I just want to say thank you very much for talking to us. I love your book.
I loved it. It was very, very informative, updating us and more teasing and
thank you. I was going to say thank you guys so much, not only for hopping on here and just chatting about all the things, but also for reading and reviewing and for being on the beta reading too, and staying up super late and spending 2.5 hours with me. So I really appreciate it. And,
that's fine. I won't be able to walk because I'm sat on the floor. I feel like a pretzel.
just crawl into bed. It's right around the corner.
I've got to get up first.
No, I hear you. I've been standing this long time.
Yeah.
Oh, you've been standing up? Oh.
Yeah. Well, I won't go into it. It's I'm recovering from an injury, and so it's actually hard for me to sit right now. And standing for periods is kind of a thing too.
Yeah, you got to be ready to like lay down or something.
Yes. Yep. I definitely am, and I have a couple other videos that I'm going to be recording for June. I have something coming in June. I haven't announced it yet, but I'll announce it because I'm going to record the video and then post it so you guys will know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
But anyways, thank you.
Thank you for writing the stories.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
They're great.
You need to buy the books. Buy the books. Buy the books. Buy the books.
So she's sitting in her library where her books are at. My books are upstairs. I'm downstairs. So I'll try to remember the next time we do this to be better prepared and make sure my Instagram works.
No worries. This is all a learning experience. So thank you guys. Thank you, Julie.
And thank
Deb.
you.
And
Can't wait to read the next one.
thank you. I'll keep you guys posted on that. Okay. Bye.
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 Bye. Toodles.